Hello. Welcome to the first episode of the SEMgent. Um, I did say I wanted to make shorter 5, 10, 15-minute things, 15-minute clips of stuff that's a little bit just like maybe a piece of a larger pie in my field of study. Um, maybe something that's a little bit easier to cover and a little bit more digestible in a shorter video. SEMgent is kind of spelled like this. This just stands for standard error of the mean, and standard error is oh, that's ugly. Something like I forgot what it was. This over root and is basically how far off your mean will be from the population mean. So if you're taking like a sample, this is your standard error. This is the number of participants in your sample, and this will give you like a rough estimate of how far off your mean is if this is your mean. But I thought, it's a cool name for, things that might be a little bit off of the general population, which is like the podcast. Just thought it was kind of neat. And so today I wanted to talk about just a little bit about the differences between short-term memory and working memory. Because I've taken a couple classes, and like even professors still have differences between how they define each, whether they use one or the other, and so I'll give a rundown of how it's been explained to me, and how it might be represented in the within the field, and then you as an individual can assess whether or not you want to look more into it, or if you want to take my word for it. So let's get started, I suppose. Short-term memory, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what short-term memory is, but let's just go over it really quickly, I guess. So, and then I'll explain just why there's a difference between that and working memory. So short-term memory is usually how most people are told that it's 7 plus or minus 2 items that they can remember. So passwords are grocery list items. 9 items is best, and then you should carry another list with you for the other 18 or something like that. And it doesn't last very long. It's obvious in its name. But if you commit it to memory through repetition, then you'll be able to remember it. And this is just what you might learn in your first year, second year, or like first semester, second semester psychology courses, because there's usually 2 for most schools for most Ontario or Toronto universities. Working memory is how is the way in which you manipulate information. Usually consists of 3 to 4 items, and it's easier. And you can also do it through repetition. This goes for either if you want to commit it to long-term memory. However, another way that you can commit whatever you have in your working memory to long-term memory is through, I think a nice word to define it would be relatability. there's, yeah, relatability. So if you can connect your thoughts to other thoughts, that's a really powerful way in remembering something. So if I want to remember like a grocery list, for instance, and I need to get cereal, I need to get milk, I need to get mango juice because I love mango juice, and I need to get, let's say, onions and zucchini. We're making something, and that's just what we're missing, let's say. It's one thing to just remember a list of items. It's another thing to remember where they are in your fridge, let's say, or where they are in your pantry or cabinet. And so that helps a lot. Also, pardon my lisp, I have a night retainer. I haven't taken it out just because I happen not to do so. Anyways, another way, like a third step. So the first step, just repetition. This one, relatability. This is like step number 3. Step number 2 was like places, and so like a shallow amount of processing, but a little bit deeper relative to repetition. And then the third is like the deepest level processing would be relatability. So maybe you can connect your grocery list to actually making the food, or your daily routine, for instance. So, I wake up in the morning, I go shower, shave, finish from there, put my clothing on, go to the kitchen, and I want to grab a bowl of cereal, but I'm out of cereal. So I need to grab cereal. What else do I need? I need milk. The zucchini and other things might be a little bit more difficult to incorporate in your daily routine unless you eat zucchini for breakfast or onions for breakfast. And hey, I don't judge if you eat them raw like that, or if you put them in eggs. I do that. But that's basically, a little bit what you can do with working memory as opposed to short-term memory. So you can think of short-term memory, or the way that I've been told to think of short-term memory, it's like a box, and working memory is you manipulating that box, and you can turn it into a diamond, or you turn into 2 triangles, or this is just for storage, and this is I did not spell, I meant to do an E, and this is for like origami. I'm a little bit tired. That's okay. All right. So why is this something that's worth bringing up? Because, or at least I think it's something worth bringing up because lots of psychologists use the terms interchangeably. So I had I had multiple cognitive psychology classes that had one, and it was just working memory, and the textbooks that I used for those classes, they all mention that working memory is just short-term memory. I should probably put a T, that makes more sense. Short-term memory, and it's just what we have. Studies have shown that our short-term memory can only hold 3 to 4 items. In fact, not the more popularized version of 7 items. And short-term memory or working memory is just the way in which we take in information and then manipulate it. So there's the Atkinson and Shiffrin model, which is a very popular model for a memory model. You basically have working memory here, or you have sensory memory here, and sensory memory is 1 to 2 items, and it's basically like you touch something and what did you touch, or you see something, what did you see specifically. and then you have working memory, and then your working memory encodes, if I could spell it, and retrieves. Oh, hello? Okay, there we go. Retrieves stuff from your long-term memory. This is a very popular model. It's very likely that any individual watching has likely seen a derivative of this model. But it basically just explains something very like a simple way in which memory works. And then you have action, or however you want to define like behavior and what you do with your retrieved memory. But this is a very simple model and doesn't account for things outside of perception and other things. But it's a very clean way of, well, okay, maybe not my drawing, but it's a very clean way of showing memory, or like a basic version of memory. And so now I think it's worth posing the question, do you think that there's both? Because there's no one like conclusive evidence that one exists and one doesn't. This is just the way in which a psychologist finds the best way of interpreting the way in which memory works, or the way in which we take perceptual information, like from sensory information to perceptual information to information we can work with, and then stores it into long-term memory. This box right here has been under debate for a while. I've had a behavioral neuroscience class that had both. I've had psychology classes only use short-term memory, and they said that there was 7 plus or minus items. And then I've had higher level courses, plus or minus 2 items. And then I've had higher level courses that just say working memory with 3 or 4 items. Me personally, I think working memory and short-term memory are the same. I don't think there is not that there's not room for 2. I just think that whatever is in our short-term memory is what we're working with, and if what we're working with is defined as working memory, then we're only relegated to working memory. Then short-term memory is not something, short-term memory is the same thing as working memory. That's what I think, and that just makes the most sense to me. Maybe there's an article or some other stuff that a researcher has done that I haven't read, but I'd be happy to eat my words if there exists both, or if one exists but it's different than the way that I say it is. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to go through, just the differences between working memory and short-term memory. There we go, short-term memory. If you have any questions, or if you want an article placed, don't know how many people will see this, but leave a comment or shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to provide you with some articles or some more information, maybe from a textbook or something, if that's what you fancy. But yeah, thank you very much for this small journey into the morning, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week.